ペンクスタイルのオーナーのジャクソンです。チューニングガラージがあまりのマサワシあります。ペンクスタイルは日本製のどの車でも解除できます。20年以上のチューニングとレーシングの経験あります。子供の頃にゲームをしていて日本車に興味を持ちました。2008年からパーツを売り始めて2016年から会社と知ってペンクスタイルを設立しました。
Feel like learning Japanese is too damn hard for you? Stop slaving away at grammar, words, and spelling. Now there's a better way to learn how to speak Japanese like a normal guy. Welcome to Terumi's podcast. Let's learn Japanese in just 2 months with Terumi's learning method.
Hi, Donald.
How's it going, Terumi?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining my YouTube channel. It's been a while. How have you been?
I've been good. Yeah, it's been a while. I checked the YouTube and it was about, I was trying to check and it was like May 2022 and like it didn't feel like it felt like maybe we talked 5 months ago, but yeah, it's been a whole year, which is too long, but we've both been busy, so that's good.
Yeah. By the way, like Donald, like which state are you from? And then currently, you can tell like where are you living in Japan?
So I'm from Baltimore City, Baltimore, Maryland native. I'm living currently in Misawa, Japan, where I've been here since 2008. And yeah, it's odd. When I first got to Japan, everybody wants to go to Tokyo, Osaka, like down in that Kanto Kansai area because it seems like everything is happening on it. Shibuya, Ginza, all that stuff is there. But I prefer Misawa because it's more space. The rent's cheaper and things like that. So coming from a city person in Baltimore and New York, DC, all that stuff, I actually like not being around the big city because I grew up in a city. So yeah, that's why I'm at Misawa, and it's very cold here in the wintertime, but the spring and summers are awesome.
So we want to talk about entrepreneurship in Japan, especially like Donald, you are American person and live in Japan and also having own business. I think it's what you're doing in Japan is so many people's dream. So that's why I would like to ask, like, how's actually the entrepreneurship in Japan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like for overall the business, the first thing I'll say is I was prior military here, as Terumi just said, and when I got out the military, I did government, worked for a little bit, 4 years, worked on the fighter jets and the aircraft lines, and I just didn't feel like fulfilled, and I was the type of person that I kind of know what I'm capable of, and I decided to start a business. I took about $5,000, and I rented the building, and I essentially had 1 month to make rent, and then the next month to make rent, and it was a gamble, but I knew my skills, I knew what I was capable of, and I also knew like my internal drive. So being in Japan was one of my ultimate goals. I joined the military to kind of come here for a little bit, and it just worked out a lot better than I thought. And we never know what's going to happen when we move somewhere or start something new. So I think it's it's definitely it's risky, and there's some days when it's very stressful, but then you have a really good day, nice sun, nice weather, and it just feels good to take that risk and have a business.
Amazing. And so like you start living in Japan because you were in the military, and but also you kind of felt like this is not something, it's a long-term plan, and you actually start up the business. Like it's a really big decision. Like I'm sure a lot of people want to do it, but it's this really difficult to make a decision. So like, how did you make this decision?
Okay, so the before I made the decision, I tried. Well, I was single. I'm married now. I tried before when I was by myself, and what I learned was in Japan, it's not really as a gaijin foreigner, and not using gaijin is just a term for a foreigner. It's not I'm not using it in a bad way, but when I tried to start it by myself, the Japanese were kind of really apprehensive because a lot of foreigners that come here and they start a business, they get a loan, and they fly out. So as a foreigner, it's kind of tough. So when I went there the first time to start the business, I was pretty much told like no, and that, in Japan a lot of times you go somewhere they put the X up like dame. So I naturally got married about a year later, and the building was open, and I talked to the owner, and it was much more easier because my wife is Japanese. it made me angry a little bit, but at the same time, I had to understand that you know, other foreigners before me kind of didn't do proper things, and there's a lot of good foreigners here that run business, but the few handful of foreigners kind of make it bad for the ones that are good intentions and things like that. So the decision to start, essentially, it just came out of me wanting to not work for anybody, and I want to work for myself and have my ideas grow. But the in Japan, you have to be prepared. You know, if you want to start a business here, you have to be resilient, and you have to be able to not stop as soon as you get the first roadblock, because there will be a bunch of roadblocks to get started, because they want to make sure that your business is going to be legit. You're not going to leave. You're not going to get a contract and break the contract, because it's wasting their time and wasting their money as a Japanese landlord. So it will be tough, but at the same time, once you start the business and you get your tax ID and you get past that first year, everything becomes opened up. You start to meet a lot more Japanese clients and Japanese business partners, and the more people you meet, your network just keeps expanding. And yeah, it becomes really good. So now I'm being 7 years currently, almost 8 years in January. We 8 years of business. It kind of feels like everything started a year ago.
Yeah, that's true. And especially, Japan, it's not like in the States, there are a lot of nationalities. Like, and I'm sure it's, how you get the trust, with the local people. Okay, I can give you the land, I can actually rent a house, and then, okay, maybe even I can pay you to buy something. It's so much effort to make a trust each other. When somebody actually thinking to start a business, do you have some like step-by-step advice to build the trust?
Okay. So the first thing first is with the being American, being Western, being we're a little bit different than Japanese versus Japanese. When you come to Japan, the first thing you want to do is when you meet the owners, you want to kind of, if you're going to do business, you have to kind of show them within the first 5 to 10 minutes kind of who you are, how organized you are. When you meet them, you got a notebook with you. You're on time, because if you're late to a meeting, that's already starting bad. You're already starting like the relationship bad, and you're probably not going to get the contract or the house or whatever you're trying to do. So you want to be early. Number one, punctual. In Japan, you never want to break, even if you say anything and there's no handshakes, you never want to break appointment. That's a really big thing I learned here, and I kind of had to learn that you really have to keep that, because in America you'll say, "Oh, I missed it," or "I'm late. We'll do it tomorrow," or "We'll do it the next day." And if you do that one time in Japan, it's pretty much it for some people. So you got to be
Yeah.
punctual. So when I bring my wife to be translator, already that business person is already they already don't want to do business, because they don't want to talk to other person. They want to talk direct. So if you're going to do business in Japan, you have to really study in your Japanese, and you have to find a system that's really fast. And again, promotion here again, Japan Language Factory. I've talked to a lot of my friends who use it, and it cuts through all of like the steps where you're going to sit there and study a book, because a book, you don't talk to a book when you speak. You're talking to a different person. So I was one of those people who thought I would get XYZ book and I would read it, and then my Japanese friends were saying like, "Hey, we don't speak like that. Like, we don't talk like that. So when you speak to me like this, the book, I don't understand, because it's too formal or is not formal enough." So it's better to learn, I think, from an actual, like say the company that Tarimi runs. It's better to learn from a actual person, I believe.
Thank you so much. I always say it's fluency is depending on your lifestyle or interest. So it's simple actually. They don't need to look at the textbook. You just need to know what you want to talk about it. If you like car, and let's learn about the car in Japanese. It's just really simple.
Yeah, I think so too. It's very very simple, and when it's like, I think with anything in life, like we always hear that people say, if you find a job or a career that goes along with your passion, it feels like when you go to work every day it's fun. It doesn't feel like work, because you're doing something you enjoy. And that's for me. I mean, the car stuff, fortunately I have a wife, so my wife can help me with a lot of things daily, but I should be able to do it by myself. And again, that's where Japan Language Factory can come in and help you be able to succeed and survive by yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, still you have so much growth, right? Because it's already your business is going well. And if you speak Japanese fluently, your business is going to be 10 times bigger.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's kind of crazy to get this far this quickly.
All right, thank you so much. And so, like, lastly, you can actually tell us what exactly you're doing, and also now you have like your own product. So, can you tell me about your business right now?
All right, so first, my shop is a performance shop, performance tuning. I am a professional drifter, racer here in Japan. I've been doing it for almost 20 years, over 20 years actually. My business is in segments, so my primary responsibility or primary deal is I fix and repair sports cars, GTR, Skyline, Supras, anything that's performance related. I make them faster, I make them more powerful, and things like that. Second is going to be shipping. Kurumalexo is going to be shipping, exporting from Japan to all over the world. And third, kind of is like parts. I do parts and things like that. So guys want to get parts and stuff, but my business is really consumed, so I don't spend a lot of time getting parts. Then after that, like so, one thing again, like Tarumi said, like parts, products, things like that. So I just launched my own shoes. So I have my own shoe line, which they're flashy and things like that, just like Pinku style. Like I could get a regular basic shoe and have things. So the first launch shoes are very vivid. I will come up with more shoes that are more like, just black color or white color. Some people don't like flashy stuff, but for me, when I go to the airport, when I had this shoe on, people were asking me, man, whose shoe? And then it feels good to say this is my shoe. So I've only sold 30 shoes since September, and I just started. So 2 years from now, I've already sold over 300 shoes. And now I'm in Italy meeting with people. I'm in Vogue magazine or GQ magazine, which is a potential. And then that grows my business. And then because me and Tarumi are friends, my network is bigger. And now I can, I can introduce Tarumi to somebody in Italy or things like that. And that's how it should be. That's how business is. And just for your daily life, this is outside of business. You should definitely be around people who are positive and people who are going up, because if you're around like you have negative friends or they're always getting in trouble, they're going to pull you down, so your success is not going to be there. So you will feel lonely sometimes, because only people like me, Tarumi, and my other business partners understand how hard life is with the business. Because outside looking in, some people think, oh, we're lucky and we have like show money and everything else, and life is good, and you're in different places, but it takes a long time to get there. So
are you expat live in Japan? You started living in Japan, you're super excited to communicate with locals. You can enjoy traveling, meeting people, and now you start using this textbook and you feel like, wow, that's so many. Elementary school textbook, another elementary school textbook, and how many hours should you study? Let's think one more time. In order to communicate like a normal guy, you can do everything in the basic everyday life. Should you finish all those textbooks? Otherwise, you won't understand what they're talking. You cannot express yourself, anything. First of all, there are always two ways to learn languages. One is documentational language. The other one is conversational language. It's like, once upon a time, grandmother and grandfather are living somewhere. Or, hey, what's up? How's it going? Which is conversational. What is the most effective way to learn how to speak Japanese? Textbooks can't talk to you, so you cannot improve your listening skill and pronunciation, how to communicate. So why Japanese children can speak Japanese so quickly? Because they are learning conversational Japanese. The good news is, in Japan Language Factory, we have a specific learning structure to improve your conversational Japanese. So you can join the conversation, you can understand what they're talking, you can respond quickly, and express what you are thinking. If you want to be able to speak Japanese as soon as possible, join our free consultation to figure out what is the fastest way to start speaking Japanese.